This is actually probably my #1 question because there's so many women who have gone through the same process as me and they want to know, like, my husband kept asking me, are you sure? I had all these people kind of like, you know, not even doubting, but they were double checking with me and I was so certain. So hey friends, Sarah here. Welcome back to our channel. So if you're new here, I'm a mom of 5 and I have documented and shared a very special journey to me. I've had a tubal reversal. If you're not familiar with tubal reversal, it's when you've had your tubes tied, aka having a tubal ligation, and you decided that you want to have more children and you want to reverse that process. So my husband and I had our children young, and I was like 24-ish, 25-ish after I've had my 3rd, and at that point I was just like, okay, I'm done, like time to put up my mommy, you know. I just thought for sure I was done. I was just in a certain phase and I just thought, okay, that's it, no more kiddos. And yeah, we did that. Years passed by and I am here again with children. And sometimes, so I posted my journey, I documented it, but sometimes people don't understand it. I find that people can be quite ignorant sometimes to things that they do not know, or things that aren't familiar to them, or things that they just haven't experienced. And it's okay to not have and that's okay, but I find it's just frustrating when they then apply it to you and just feel like your journey doesn't line up or add up, or it just doesn't make sense just because they haven't experienced it. Anyways, that said, since sharing my journey on here, I didn't go in depth and share a lot of my journey on here because I actually have a mommy channel. If you guys aren't unfamiliar, it is called I Am Sarah Latouche, which I will leave in the description box below. And that is my mommy journey where I just post literally all things mommy. Over here is more of the family aspect. I try to keep it more family and stuff like that. But I'll do a sit down video and talk about stuff if you guys ask as well. So, I have been getting a ton of questions, and it's usually stuff that's kind of filtered out because sometimes the way they're being said or the way they're being asked are not nice. Like, it just comes across as like straight up just rude sometimes. So I'm going to be answering some of the juicy questions that people like to ask when pertaining to this subject matter because I haven't really addressed any of them on here. I've just kind of kept it moving, but I realized that, you know what, it could serve as, because the questions aren't always bad and sometimes they can serve as a tool. A lot of the reasons why I shared my journey to begin with was to be able to help others and to also let other moms who are feeling and experiencing the same things that I'm feeling, to let them know you are not alone. Like, you're not the only one. I too have felt like this and I too have experienced this. And after making all those videos and posting and putting myself out there with sharing my journey, I know that my journey is not in vain because there's just so many women that have gone through and are experiencing what I've experienced. So it's not even just a thought anymore. It's, I understand, and I'm so grateful for that. But that said, we're gonna jump right into the juicy questions, but let me hydrate myself real quick. Okay, so one of the main questions that I get asked a lot is like, why would you do this? Like, why would you choose to go back and have more kids after tying your tubes, girl? Like, why? The answer for that question is because I wanted to. Like, because I wanted to. I had a desire. I had a passion. It's in my heart to want to have more. And it's okay if it's not in yours. I'm not gonna judge you. You are you, I am me. Our journeys are different and I'm okay with that. But it was a desire for me. When I had decided to tie my tubes, it was like my frame of thought was just in a different place. I was just a young mom. I tied my tubes at 24 and I just kind of felt like, oh, I just wanted to get my body back. Like, my mind was just so young and inexperienced. I just kind of felt like it was my show and I was literally just kind of running it. I just didn't realize, I never in a million years would have thought me making such a decision to tie my tubes, even though the doctor double checked with me and was like, are you sure? And then my husband kept asking me, are you sure? I had all these people kind of like, you know, not even doubting, but they were double checking with me and I was so certain. So I never in a million of years would have thought it would have come back to like bite me, not even bite me in the butt, but come back to me where I'm just like, oh, I think I want to have more babies. But it did, and it is, you know, that is a part of my journey. So it's really like a passion. Trust me, like if it wasn't a strong desire and there wasn't a passion within me to want to expand my family and want to have more kiddos, I wouldn't have gone for a tubal reversal surgery. It wasn't, the recovery process from that was actually not fun. It was kind of brutal because I found it to be, even though it wasn't as invasive as a C-section, which I've had 5 C-sections to date. It was the recovery process of it being laparoscopic and them having to blow up your tummy and all that gas being trapped in you. It was just not fun, the healing process. So I am just, yeah, I really wouldn't have, I mean, I wouldn't have known what the outcome of that would have been because I wouldn't have done it, but I wouldn't have done it if I really wasn't passionate. Another thing that goes hand in hand with this is that some of the people who would write comments like this are the ones who will say like, when I tie my tubes, I'm done, like donezo. I don't want any more kids. I don't want any more kids coming out of me. Like I am for sure done. And why would you just make a decision like that? And like I want to just go back to saying, I understand and you are you and you're entitled to make your own decision. But I want to also state and want to also kind of indicate that I too was there where I felt so solid in my decision making. I was so solid in my decision making and I never anticipated that I'd come back to this point and say that I wanted to have more kids, but I did. So I still kind of, I guess in the process of doing what I've done, for me, I'm advocating and saying just be mindful of when you tie your tubes, just be extra, I don't even know how to say it because I thought my mind was there. I didn't make a rash decision. I didn't have my surgery. I didn't have my tubal reversal like immediately after having a baby. Well, I did actually after having a baby, but I made the decision well into my while I was pregnant. It wasn't like some decision I came up with at the end while I gave birth and I wasn't of the mind, you know? So I'm always saying just still be mindful because there is room where you might change your mind. And then today, it's not an easy reverse. It's not an easy reverse because when I did it and it costed $6,000 back then, lots of people were saying they wanted to do it so badly, but they couldn't afford it. I can only imagine now where it's up to it's like 10,000 and 10,000 plus to get it. So yeah, I would be mindful and extra cautious of making that decision, especially if you are young and there's still room to, you know, sometimes people don't know their situation, don't know how things can pan out. Sometimes it's just like a matter of situation. Some people are like, oh, I'm not with anyone, I'm done, I've been burned by my partners or whatever, and I just don't even care to really have any more kids. But the idea is maybe you never know, when you're not looking, the right person could come along and you may just want to have his baby. I'm not saying like we're all out here to be just baby making machines. I'm just saying that your heart sometimes get pulled on by the right things and the right person, and that's when that that urge and desire that maybe wasn't there before may come out. And I've met enough women who can attest to this and saying that that's how it played out for them and they never saw it coming. Another question that I get asked, and it's almost like not even a question, it's more like getting told. It's saying like, why are you going to have a tubal reversal? Like you shouldn't, there's so many kids out there looking to be adopted and all this stuff. And I kind of wish people would stop doing this. It's so frustrating. It's not just me. I see them doing it on other platforms and I hear people throwing out adoption so easily. I too am aware that there are lots of children looking to be adopted. I understand. I'm actually gonna say, when I tied my tubes, that was actually the area that we were gonna go into. We wanted to adopt, but upon doing our research, we realized it wasn't even feasible for us. Adoption costs are so high and the process is so daunting and all these other stuff. And I'm not saying that, and I commend all the people who go through the process because it's not easy. And I'm well aware there's no price to be put on a kid, but at the same token, it's not easy to come up with that fund to adopt a child. Long story short, we did our research and it didn't work out for us, and we went to where my heart felt pulled to, and that's okay. The subject matter of adoption is so touchy because yes, there are kids that are out there needing to be adopted, but there's also people who want to have their biological child, and it's hard to say, do we just all stop having children? Like, do we all just not have children? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a tough thing to kind of play on because it's not just so easily fixed with one scenario. So I really think people should be mindful of what they do say. Also, I just want to put out there, adoption isn't on the hearts of everyone, and although it even may be, it's not suitable for everyone. We all have heard of those cases where people adopt kids and foster kids and the outcomes aren't great, and they don't even have the so-called better home that you thought they would have, regardless of if it's even slightly better than what they had before. But it's just not on the hearts of everyone, and it really should be something that's on the heart of the person, because you have to genuinely love this child that came from someone else and that maybe have gone through some hardships. You have to learn to love this child as your own and to ensure that you are giving them the best of, not just financially, but the mentally and all physically, like, you know, the mental and all those hard parts. So we should not be forcing adoption onto people who aren't passionate about adoptions, because the same way my heart desired to have my own children, it's the same way one's heart should be being open to an adoption, because you want to make sure you're providing the best for that child. Okay, so jumping back into questions, this one's a pretty main question. Where did you get it done? I had mine done at New Life Fertility in Toronto. And when I was even discovering that tubal reversal was like an actual thing, when I was looking, there weren't too many doctors that I saw on the list, and people were actually driving from, people were going from Canada to like Dr. Mont, I can't remember his name. He's here on YouTube, I've seen it, but he's like all the way in the States, and I was like, that's not feasible for me. My husband's working, life was just busy and chaotic, and I just couldn't see myself having to travel to the US to do it. Okay guys, so one of the next questions that I get asked a lot is, how long did you take to conceive? This is actually probably my #1 question, because there's so many women who have gone through the same process as me, and they want to know, like, how long did it take to conceive after trying? Now, there are mixed messages about this, but I was told by my doctor that I should let my healing take place over 2 months, and then I could actually go on into trying. And so that's what I did. I healed up for 2 months, and then literally the first month that we tried, I conceived. The thing is, that ended in a chemical pregnancy, and that was literally my first time even really learning about chemical pregnancy, because honestly, I never really TTC'd before. All the other times that I got pregnant, it was just like, oh, okay, we're just gonna have another baby, and we just did our thing. I never really had to think about TTCing to begin with. So that was a little different for me. Since having my tubal reversal, I just felt compelled to kind of join that TTC community and jump into that, because I just wasn't confident that it was gonna happen for me, given that I only was able to have 1 tube reversed. So anyways, that said, I had my tube reversed and I conceived the first month. It had ended in a chemical pregnancy, and then we went on to try again the next month, and I conceived the next month, and that's how my daughter was conceived. So I got pregnant basically immediately after trying with only 1 tube. Pretty sure I made a video on here just sharing my journey of, if you guys want to see just how I felt, because once again, I said I know I'm not alone in this, but just how I felt when I learned that I only have 1 tube, and just even like my little history of trying, especially with baby number 2 after having a tubal reversal, which would have been my 5th baby. I was just kind of, like feeling a little defeated when we wanted to try for another, and it just wasn't sure because it wasn't exactly happening in a timely manner. But I also had a few other things, I think factors that could have played into that as well. But last but not least, people are always curious about like why would you want to have so many kids? Like because I can, because we can afford them, because my husband and I love children. We love a big family. We're dedicated. We're committed to raising our children. We adore our children, and we think they are a blessing from God, and He told us to be fruitful and multiply, and we trust in Him that He will continue to bless us. And He'll also put on my heart when it's time to, you know, there's just a lot of positivity. And like I said, it's not for everyone. Not everyone has the same drive, nor the same heart, nor the same dream. Nothing of which I'm saying makes me think I am better than anyone. But I just want to put that out there that we just don't all have the same desire. Some people have a passion to be a doctor. That's not me, but their passion is amazing because they're the ones delivering our beautiful babies. They're the ones that are helping us save lives. They're the ones taking care of us throughout these journeys of pregnancies, where back in the day when women were pregnant, they didn't even have anyone to turn to half the time. During childbirth, they were just having childbirth somewhere in the woods in their home on their own with like a midwife. And I'm not knocking midwives, but you know, so much has changed since then. And aren't we grateful? So they have their journey, they have their passion, and I'm grateful for that. God's put that on their hearts. I have a different passion, and mine is to be a mom. I'm passionate about being a mom. I'm passionate about taking care of my children, and passionate about raising my offspring, and you know, all those beautiful things that come with. I just want to be respected just like everyone else, and respect my decision, so long as I'm not out there doing anything ill, and I'm not. So we could just leave that alone because I'm respecting those who don't even want to have a chick or a child. If any of my children don't want to have any kids, that's okay. I'm not going to be pushing anyone and forcing anyone to have children. So, you know, it is what it is. But hope you guys enjoyed this little mini chit chat. I actually think I'm going to be making a second video because I had another topic that I wanted to touch base on. And while I can real quick, while the kids are occupied, I can do this. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely leave your comments down below and touch base and let me know what your thoughts are on this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, this Q&A, and I'm looking forward to doing many more just to get caught up and connect with you all on this channel, because that's what motherhood's all about. It's about connecting, it's about community, it's about becoming the village. And the village doesn't have to be just within your family. It could be outside. It could be a million miles away through a YouTube video, and that's how we can love and support one another. So thank y'all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye y'all.